Do. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jeffrey Moss, the founder and CEO of Parker Dewey, joined by my amazing colleague, Annie, who leads so much of the work with clients and client success, in addition to really driving the amazing programs that we have here at Parker Dewey. Today, we're going to do a session on a new feature that I've been super excited um, about for some time. It's called the Project Builder. And as we'll talk about, what it's doing is it's leveraging best practices from our 10 years of creating micro internships and seeing how successful they are um, in helping organizations. We've taken all of those best practices and incorporated it into a resource that you can use, making it easier. So we're excited to introduce that. For anyone who's been on webinars with me before, you know I'm pretty good at keeping an eye on the chat along the way. So we'll do that. We'll try to answer questions along the way. We will also leave time at the end for Q&A. Finally, the recording or this session will be recorded. We'll share the slides, all of that fun stuff as well. So let's hop into it. First, very quick on Parker Dewey. Again, for those of you who don't know us, we've been around. We've been around for about a decade. 100% of what we do is helping organizations leverage short-term paid professional projects as a way to, one, support their early career recruiting programs, whether it's around engaging candidates, building relationships, assessing schools, and also getting on-demand support for real short-term projects, while also helping these organizations and college students explore opportunities, demonstrate skills, etc. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Annie, who will sort of kick us off.
Thanks, Jeffrey. So, as Jeffrey shared, my name is Annie, and here at Parker Dewey, I get to work with a variety of folks, including companies, clients using Parker Dewey for your recruiting goals, as well as short-term project needs, as well as getting to oversee a lot of our programs that we run as well. So, in this role, I get to look at mostly every project that comes through. I try to get my specific eyes on everyone, but I'm human, so I admit that the team does some other ones too that I don't get to see personally. Um, but we really are focused here on experiential recruiting, right? So what are micro internships? They're not a replacement for traditional internships or for full-time hires. They're meant to add in to, everything that everybody's already doing to engage early career talent. So we took out the paperwork hassle and other friction that typically is associated with bringing somebody on short term, and we make it so that everybody can get onboarded quickly and can, get what you need done. So what I want to be able to show you guys today is a bit more of what it is that we do here. Looking at what you might need to power those early career recruiting strategies. So we have our candidate intelligence platform that actually shows you a whole lot of info for these candidates who are interested in the opportunities that you're posting. So not only are we helping you, get this project up and running and a student's doing some work for you, but you're actually getting insights into this candidate intelligence platform as well. This shows you what some of the data looks like in the system. Some of these screenshots here is just an example of what you would see based on the candidates who are applying to your roles within Parker Dewey. So we know that employers are looking to leverage everything beyond individual assignments, and you're able to use this data to build relationships with these students, get insights on their skills based on feedback that you and your team have provided on their performance, really help and deepen these relationships and build an understanding of cost per hire and who's applying to roles within your organization. And then, of course, you're really getting to touch on a lot of different schools or campuses you might not have otherwise have been able to connect with. Love to show you all a bit of what I do a lot of the time. A really common question that our team gets is, how do I turn what I need into a project? I have this job description, I have an internship already, but I don't know how to projectify it, right? I like to say. Um, well, we've been doing this by hand for years, and we're excited to announce the tool today, the Project Builder, that can help you to create a targeted micro internship based off of an existing role or a role that you're looking to fill. So maybe you don't have a specific project in mind, but you know that you're hiring for an entry-level data marketer. If you send us this job description, one of the things that we can do, or the project builder can do, is take this job description and kind of unpack it a bit, right? Really look at the nuts and bolts of what this job would entail and make a bite-sized project that a student can complete for you that still highlights the relevant skills for the role that you can assess, right? So we're able to go ahead and break that down for you and make it short term, and then you're able to utilize everything for your needs long term. I don't want to bury the lead here. I really want to dive into the project builder. I'm really excited about this. So, there are two different use cases when you're looking for this project builder experience, right? So, use case one is recruiting support, right? So, you're trying to get more interest in opportunities that you have. You're trying to get some insight on skills for candidates that you'd like to consider. Maybe you're trying to get some ongoing engagement with different colleges or universities that again, you want to build relationships with or continue existing relationships with, and of course, complement those existing efforts that you and your team are already doing. So you're able to really focus on filling those roles that you're seeking. And then, of course, use case two is that project support, right? Traditionally, this is what we've been known for, and a lot of people come to Parker Dewey for those quick short-term needs, right? Those we should, but I shouldn't be doing that task, the to-do list that is all here and many pages long a lot of the time that you'd love a micro intern to do. But again, being able to have it be a bit more formalized and structured for a micro intern to understand what it is that you need done and make sure that what they're doing is going to produce what it is that you're hoping for and what will truly take that task off of your plate. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jeffrey demonstrate. We're going to dive into the tool today and show you a few different ways on how you guys can use this.
Thanks so much, Annie. And I'm excited about this. And one of the things is I'm watching the chat a bit while Annie was talking. There's a great question about how prepared are the micro interns to get a short-term project done well. Our data shows over 98% of the time the students exceed expectations. They're motivated, they're excited, they're doing it not sort of as a side hustle. They're doing it because they value these real experiences. They want to demonstrate skills, they want to build relationships, they want to explore career paths. And again, the value of this and the power is that these projects are specifically crafted, whether it's by us through the work Annie and her colleagues have been doing over the past 10 years, or now through the project builder to enable a student to be successful. It understands what types of students you're looking for. So a project may be scoped differently if it's for a first year student versus someone who's graduating. But it's scoped so they can be successful, but also give you the insights on their skills. And again, we'll show you as we go live. So again, let's jump in. We're going to go through first use case one, the recruiting support. Again, what organizations need to do is essentially take an existing job description they have for a full-time role or an internship. Again, it doesn't require recreating the wheel. Can also provide additional clarity around specific goals you may have. You may be really interested in students with connections to Virginia. It'll obviously highlight sort of students who may go to UVA, but also students who may be from Virginia, but attend school elsewhere. You may have specific skills you're looking for, expertise in Power BI. You may want to highlight a preference for student athletes. This is all doable. But again, as opposed to me talking to you about it, let's show you. So we are now in the live project builder. Annie, can you see my screen okay?
I can.
I am always a technology nincompoop. And I did cheat a little bit and looked a little bit at some examples beforehand. So we went to Northrop Grumman, again, an organization that deals with literally top secret information. Again, you can see for this full-time role, ultimately someone's going to need secret clearance. But this is for an intern for next summer, test evaluation engineer. Obviously, a micro internship isn't going to be anything that requires access to sensitive info or air gap machines, but it also needs to be able to help Northrop both engage students who might not be thinking about that organization, but also assess the skills. So again, as opposed to me talking about it, what I'm going to do is just copy the existing job description, and let's paste it right into the builder. That's it. We're going to hit generate. What this is doing is it's looking through the job description that I pasted, keywords, attributes, and other things, cross-referencing it from data from the past decade of the thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of micro internships that have been done on the platform, where we have insights about what's made them successful, feedback on the students, all of these things to craft a customized experience specifically for, in this case, Northrop Grumman. It's aligned to the test data analysis sort of internship role. It's putting in the qualifications. It's crafting a project. We want you to demonstrate your ability interpreting test results. You're going to use public data set. So again, back to the earlier point before, Northrop doesn't need to share data with you. You're using public data set. You're describing test objectives. Again, what this is doing is highlighting not just the student's technical skills, but things like judgment, things like problem solving, communication. You're supporting, creating a test support memo. Again, one of the things you'll notice is this entire project is specifically designed, one, so a student can do it on their own without hand-holding from Northrop, without the organization having to share sensitive data, and with a deliverable that's well-defined, that whether it's a hiring manager or an early career recruiting team can look at the deliverable and in about a minute have a pretty good idea of if this is a student they want to continue to engage. Again, we're not suggesting it's a hire, don't hire decision based upon the student's work on this project, but rather it's giving you insights to help you, again, spend your time with those candidates that are likely the best fit. Again, very, very straightforward. You can then move forward with this and put in other specifics that you may have. Do you want the student to start working on this next week, or do you want to delay it? Do you have any edits to this? Is this tied to the location in Chicago, Illinois, or elsewhere? You can also say, I want 5 different students or 3 different students doing this project. Again, whoops, hit the wrong button. That was number of hours. I can have 5 different students doing this project, again, as a way to compare and contrast various students. You can also have this open to anyone, or you can limit it to specific schools. So Northrop Grumman has a great relationship with George Mason University. I can't type. Whoops, wrong button schools. They have a great relationship with George Mason University. Let's make sure this project is only being available to GMU students or GMU and Florida. Again, I can't type, sorry. Florida A&M. Florida. Yeah, my typing skills are subpar. Only those students will see it. They can put in preferences. Again, is it for recent grads or current students? Refine the questions. That is it. Let's go through another example. So close this out. I pulled up one more. Here is PwC. It is for a tax intern, and they're specifically looking for JDs, so law students. In this case, I'm just going to copy the link to the job spec. And then you can also put in additional info. So for instance, one of the things that's top of mind for everyone is AI. So we want our new hires to use AI to be efficient in their work. Please design this project to let us see that in candidates. You can also put in, again, other preferences. As I said, we need someone who knows Power BI. Again, to the extent they're not in the job description. Same thing. Push the button, automatically goes through and creates something. Again, specifically for a JD student. Here is a project. Again, it aligns to that. You're asked to research complex real world tax issues. We want you to review a change in federal or Minnesota law, analyze the impact on a hypothetical mid-sized business, use at least one AI tool to help with your research or drafting and prepare. Again, this is a perfect example of something that an entry level JD tax person at PwC would be doing in that first job. But again, doesn't require PwC to share any data, insights, etc., while also helping PwC get insights on their skills. So that was the first example. Let's go to the second, project support. This is something that organizations use, as I said, tied, or as Annie said, tied to getting those small we should or I shouldn't tasks off their plate. So let's again take a look. Let's say, and again, I pre-wrote this, you may have your own needs. You are trying to analyze best practices tied to campus ambassador programs on college campuses. You want someone to do research on what competitors are doing, what are best practices. Again, a perfect example of a we should project, something probably sitting on anyone's plate internally that is handling campus recruiting. This is probably something you'd like to get done, but there's not enough hours in the day. Again, some very basic things in here. This is what we're trying to do. We want you to give us a PowerPoint with some suggestions and examples and a launch plan that we can implement in under a month to test your ideas. Works exactly the same. Again, create something for you that you can have done with no lift. I'll show you one other example because while you can use this for your own department or your own work, I would also suggest that there's other teams within your organization. Think about all of those teams that may have come to you, like marketing, saying, we'd love a summer intern, but guess what? They show up in May when it's too late. Or they're coming to you with a full-time need or just a project or something else they're trying to get done. Here's a resource you can offer them. Again, in this case, this company needs help drafting a blog article, highlighting how low water levels are impacting manufacturing. They want the voice to be consistent with what the organization's doing. In addition to writing a blog, create some social media posts. Again, for a busy professional in marketing, think about how valuable this is. This is something they are going to be excited to harness. It is a resource like what they have never seen before. Now, while marketing is getting some valuable help, what it's also doing is back to what Annie showed you before. When the students are applying to this project, when they're completing it, while marketing appreciates the support, it's feeding this incredible data pool for you. It's now engaging candidates who you may want to reach when you're on campus. It's getting you insights on their skills. It's building that ready to go pipeline before you even look at a resume. That's pretty powerful. So that is the project builder. But I also want to give you a preview of something else coming. It's the candidate insights tool. So one of the things we're trying to do, and again, based upon 10 years data, we know it works, is organizations are using these projects as a way to really bubble up those high potential applicants. The applicants who may get missed in the application avalanche, the ones that may not come from the traditional sort of GPA or focus school or major. Think about student athletes who are highly coachable and have discipline and grit and all of these things that you may want to be reaching. This gives you those insights. It also helps you understand not just their skills, but intent and interest earlier in the process. Again, with one-click job applications, we know we're all overwhelmed with sort of mass volumes, but we often still struggle to figure out who are the right candidates and know if they're really going to be interested. Well, again, something Parker Dewey's been doing for years. Again, when the projects are posted, able to get candidates almost instantly from a broad cross-section of schools, students who, again, are authentically interested. You're able to see insights from their short answer questions even before they complete a project. But here's the new thing that's coming out in a bit. It's the candidate insights tool, where what we're doing is making it even easier for you. Instead of having to read each and every one of these answers, instead of having to go through, what we're trying to do is help bubble up some of the candidates that best align to your goals. To be crystal clear, this is not based upon major. This is not based upon how fancy a school is or GPA. We're using real insights from answers to their questions, from prior applications they've submitted to understand, are they interested in big companies or small? Are there certain industries that they're more interested in? Are they really interested in your organization? Do they have the skills to demonstrate? Essentially, this is giving you the cliff notes for those candidates. It's giving you the rationale. So this organization was very focused on students with ties to certain geographies. They also had an initiative focused on HBCU and FDC schools. This is teasing those things out. But it's also giving you the candidate specific. It's looking at the answers to assess, is the motivation authentic or is it superficial? They're giving you insights on the AI risks. So did they just plug the question into AI, or did it demonstrate personal insights from who they are? Again, think about being able to spend your time more efficiently. Fewer interviews with people who 2 minutes in you realize who aren't the right fit, or even worse, those offers made that they're not accepted because there wasn't that real insight or intent. This is addressing all of those things. So with that, I'm going to open it up for questions. I'll also share some next steps. So first, this tool is pretty easy. So I would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend using the QR code on the left and try it yourself. Take a job description, take some bullet points, take a we should or I shouldn't project you have on your plate, plug it in, see what comes out. Again, you're not committed to doing it. You can refine, you can tweak. I would also ask you to share feedback with us. This has been launched. We've been doing testing for years on this, but we still want to be very transparent. This is in beta. So we appreciate your feedback. If something misses the mark, if something feels off, let us know. We're happy to continue to refine and learn from it. But please try it. We also have a couple of other options. If you're thinking about, I get it, I like the builder, but I'm still trying to figure out how it all fits within our campus recruiting strategy, how we can use it to truly complement what we're doing or reach students who might not be thinking about us or keep them warm after we meet them at events. Schedule time with us. As I think comes across, we're pretty passionate about this. We love working with organizations, sharing best practices, answering questions. Again, the project builder is really, really easy, but you don't need to do it alone. Just because we built this, team members like Annie and others are here to be supportive. And then finally, if you're thinking about just the on-demand small project, the we should or I shouldn't on your plate, and you have other questions, again, we have some great resources available, sample projects, best practices, etc. So beyond the builder, you can see more insights. So I'm going to try to hit some of the questions in here. I think I got the question about if the students are prepared for this. Again, the answer is yes. These are specifically designed with those students in mind. And we can be as specific as projects designed for seniors who are accounting majors, which are different than projects for accounting firms that might be for freshmen who haven't even taken an accounting class yet, and you're trying to build interest. Again, all of those use cases are incorporated in here. I saw a question about virtual. What we have found since our founding over 10 years ago is 97, 98% of the projects are remote, and that even predates COVID. We have found that remote projects are most efficient and effective for everyone. First, as an employer, you don't have to worry about where someone's going to sit. You don't have to worry about security badges or computers or anything else. But what it also does is it helps you reach more students who may be interested in that full-time role on site, but can't necessarily be in the office. So you're an organization in St. Louis. Maybe there's a great student who you want to potentially hire for a full-time role who goes to school in California or Texas but wants to move back home to St. Louis upon graduation, what a great way to reach them. What a great way to engage them. Or even for local schools here in Chicago, there's Chicago-based companies where they can't necessarily have a DePaul student or a Northwestern student be in the office because it just doesn't work with their class schedule. Now, one thing to be clear, we do not expect these micro internships and do not intend or see them being used as replacements for the traditional on site summer internship. I still believe on site summer internships are incredibly valuable. This is a complement to them. This is a way to drive more engagement by students who might not be thinking about your organization, giving them more than what they would get from an info session or a job shadow, giving them that real experience they're hungry for to learn about your organization and to give you insights. To give you insights before you're making the commitment to the 8-week internship program, let's make sure Jeff is the right fit. Let's make sure Jeff has the right skills, and let's make sure we're the right fit for Jeff because we see something like 63% conversion rate of summer internships to full-time role. Imagine if we could improve that number by having more insights before bringing those students in for summer internships. What other questions did I miss? Annie, anything I missed? I see a, oh, sorry. I do see a question about are the projects built using AI or previous data? Annie, it looked like you started to answer that, but I want to put a little more meat on the bones. So there is an AI tool behind the scenes, but it is a closed AI tool. It is not a public facing, just plug something in. And what we have done over the past several years actually is we've been continuing to provide data on prior micro internships, data around skills, data around what employers are looking for, data around student performance, and continuing to refine it using the data from, again, the hundreds of thousands of micro internships that have been done in a way that can, one, tease out from those job descriptions what are the skills required, both technical skills. So, does someone need to know Power BI? Do they need to be a law school student with sort of those legal skills or know gap for an accounting student, but also those core skills? Again, not just the ones that are said directly in the job spec, like you need to be a good communicator, but also those ones that we know are needed from that past experience. So essentially, what this tool is doing is using that 10 years of institutional knowledge to create projects. What it's also doing is it's looking at data on the student engagement side to make sure not only is the project going to give you real insights on the student, but it's going to be compelling enough to engage the students. And that goes back to the core of the Parker Dewey model that we all spend effort and time sort of blasting emails at students and hosting dinners and deciding what kind of swag we want to give away to sort of drive student interest and keep them warm. But ultimately, what students have said is what they're really hungry for are these real experiences, these real opportunities to learn about a company, to see what it's all about, to understand the role, to make more informed decisions. So again, this incorporates all of that to craft projects that are, again, enticing to students and designed so they can be successful and designed for them to showcase their skills, while at the same time giving you the data that you're looking for and helping you keep those students engaged. Annie, did I miss anything on that?
I think so. The only question I was going to say I don't think we fully addressed was from Eric about the project builder compensating for those of us who graduated a few years ago. It sounds like I interpret this two different ways. It could be amount of compensation or potentially skill set. So I'd love to address both. So here at Parker Dewey, we go by the NACE standards for internship pay, recommending that micro internship opportunities pay anywhere between $20 and $25 an hour. Sometimes we see that be higher depending on what the kind of project is, and additionally the geographic area of the project and where the company's at as well. So you can imagine that we see some tech kinds of projects that go a little bit higher and are in California versus making a social media content calendar, while those things are both important skills and great work, we know that the competition for those kinds of roles is compensated differently. As far as skill set, I think it really depends on the role too, and what it is that you're looking for. Eric, it sounds like you might be a student or a recent graduate, so welcome. And it comes down to what is the client looking for, and maybe you have a different advantage, right, than somebody who just graduated last month or hasn't taken a class on that topic yet, and you're able to provide that different perspective and really bring that into your application. So while they might be saying, oh, we're looking for, recent graduates, you count as a recent graduate, right? So that's why we don't limit anybody on Parker Dewey based on when you graduated. It's just, hey, do I have the skills to do this? And kind of knowing when you've built up those skills enough to say, okay, I've graduated from Parker Dewey even. These things are not areas that I'm, building skills up for anymore, or that I've really done 12 of these website projects. I think I'm ready to move on to something else. Thank you, Parker Dewey. Maybe you'll go ahead and host projects when you get that first full-time role yourself.
I love that. I also want to hit one other thing because I'm seeing in the chat, it looks like it looks like there's several colleges and universities here as well, which is awesome. And Jeanette, thank you for commenting in the chat and responding to so many questions in here. I think you really brought up a key point, and again, something I want to highlight. One of the things that she said, just to quote her in the chat, I'm not talking out of school because she said it publicly in here. The builder looks great. It is the biggest hurdle that their employers face with buy-in for micro internships. Yes, yes, yes. And again, we have always had people on our team that have been willing and able to unpack those projects, but sometimes people aren't comfortable asking. Even cases where the schools are getting the questions from the employer. Again, I'm Northrop Grumman. I like the idea, but it's not going to work for us. Well, this project builder tool for our friends at the universities or colleges is a resource for you as well. That way, if you're talking with your colleague at Northrop Grumman, just to again, I'm going to go back to the real example, you can go right into the project builder. You can take their job description, paste it in, and say, how about something like this? Now, it might not be perfect, but it will give them a starting point. They might look at this and say, oh, this is really good, but I'd like more focus on X, Y, or Z. Not a problem at all. Again, you can either clarify it here, that I want more of a focus on AI skills, or when you move forward, you can continue to edit it, or they can continue to. So again, this is a resource for all of our university partners as well, as they're responding to questions from employers. But again, just to go back to the slides, you don't need to do it alone. We are here. And we do it all the time with universities where they're asking us to join calls with employers. They're coming to us with specific questions, whether it's tied to XYZ firm has told us they're having difficulty recruiting for a certain role, or they're trying to recruit sophomores and drive interest. We're happy to help, but the project builder can also help you. But don't feel like it's a replacement for our team. We are here and we're happy to be as supportive as you need. As I said, we love this stuff. People like Annie and so many others on the team all come from higher ed. They have sat in seats similar to what y'all are in on the university side. They have an appreciation for the conversations that you're having, for the points of frustration you may have. And again, we've designed this not to add to your workload, but to make it easier, to reinforce when you're trying to get companies to come to the career fair. You're hearing from a company, we hosted an info session, but there weren't enough students. This can be part of your toolkit. And whether you're coming to us or using the project builder, it's, hey, since I was picking on PwC before, hey, PwC, you're telling us you want to get to know more sophomores, but they're not showing up to your info session. Have you thought about using a project like blank to drive interest? Now you can just plug that job description in and shoot out a project that's perfect for sophomores. And again, we're happy to do it for you as well. We just want you to be able to do it on your own. Any other questions? Thank you again for the kind words, Jeanette. Annie, anything I missed?
No, I just want to reiterate again, this you'll see it on there. This says beta. So please, if you see something that you're like, man, I really wish it could hit more on this, or I want to see this feature for the project builder, please let us know. We're constantly making improvements and tweaks. And this was built to, serve everybody here. So we want to make sure that it's working as best as possible. So please always give us that feedback.
I'll also add on the Insights tool, this is an alpha. This is something we are testing internally and continuing to make sure it's continuing to align to the goal of bubbling up the candidates and showcasing. If for any of the employers interested in being part of our call it pre-beta, where again sharing feedback with us, please feel free to reach out directly to us. One of the other things, since again I wasn't going to bring it up, but since there's so many schools on here as well, the other part that will be released with the Candidates Insights tool is a school facing version, again, helping you continue to be able to support your students in coaching them. So while right now for our university and college partners, they can still see the student specific answers to questions, they can see the cross student feedback data, et cetera. But what we're doing is we're giving more insights to you and to the students directly on how they can improve. So while the employer facing version of this might highlight the pros for the student about really showcase X, Y, and Z, it's going to let the student know also the flip side. You did a really nice job highlighting these areas, but in the future, you might want to include more around blah, blah, blah to demonstrate this specific skill that we see you have. Again, doesn't replace the one-on-one you're doing, doesn't replace what they're learning in the classroom, but it's a real-time actionable complement. It's not something that's taking place too late when you're looking at first destination surveys or the senior who comes in for the first time looking for a job. Again, we're trying to get insights earlier in your hands and in the learner's hands. So again, if you have more questions or interest in being involved in the alpha for the insights engine, if you have feedback for us on the project builder, please don't be bashful. Reach out. This was all based and built upon real insights and feedback from our partners over the years, along with the data. But we're just so excited about this. And we hope you're as excited as we are. With that, Annie, anything to add, or do you want to close us out?
That's it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and give everybody back the rest of their days. Thank you for joining us today. And we're looking forward to seeing even more of the Project Builder projects come through. We launched it probably 3 weeks ago now, maybe a month. And it's been fun to see how many people have used it before we even said, hey, this is a thing. So we're really excited. And thank you again.
With that, this concludes the webinar. Happy Friday Eve, everyone. I think it's Thursday. Take care.